AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Cassie Spazzale.
Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
Muse.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Greg Auman will be here in 15 minutes. Covers the NFC South for Fox Sports. We're looking forward to that conversation. Oh, by the way, breaking news. Breaking news. I'd like to remind you, the reason Cassie is forced to hang out with us, unfortunately for her, is because Paul O'Neill and his wife, Sam, have welcomed their second child into the world, and his baby boy, O'Neill. And if you recall, on Friday, they had not yet decided on a name yet for baby boy O'Neill. Oh, there he is right there. Oh, look at Cassie. Is that cute? Cassie, cute? Cute? You can say yes or no.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
cute.
great. So we do have a name.
We have a name.
We have a name.
Yeah.
There's white smoke from the Vatican. They have decided a name. They were weighing whether they wanted to go with Paul. Of course, Paul is the third. And so they were trying to decide if they wanted to go with Paul the fourth or if they wanted to go with something more practical. And they did, in fact, decide on Matthew George Moscona.
That is not his name. No.
Love it.
That's not the child's name.
That is the child's name.
No, it's
Did
not.
you see the email?
Yes.
Did you see the text to me that Paul sent to me and Michelle?
No, but I saw the text that Paul sent to me about what the child's name is.
Oh, we lied to you?
No, the child's name is Miles.
Nope, he
Miles
lied.
Paul
That's
O'Neill.
not even remotely close to
That
what
is
it is.
what it is.
It's not even, I mean, it starts with an M,
That's his name.
like Matthew George Moscona
No,
O'Neill.
it's not what they went with.
Cassie, did you hear that's what they went with?
I think I heard his name is Miles.
Nope, you're
Yeah.
wrong too.
No, she's not.
What, are you spreading lies?
She
I
nailed
got
it.
a text from Paul.
You all are spreading lies.
I
heard it from Paul.
I think
Yep.
Paul is trying not to make you all feel bad that he and Sam didn't choose your names for his baby.
I wouldn't have felt bad about that at all, and they didn't choose yours either. Miles. Baby Miles.
Look at him smiling right there. I'm going to tell you what. That little baby smiling so big because he knows he's got a great name. Matthew George Moscona
not his
O'Neill.
name.
Congratulations. Welcome to the world, baby Matthew. We're excited to see you. Can't wait to see you here in studio soon. Tell you what. It's really good. What?
It's not his name. I mean, his name is Miles, which is a great name too, by the way. They crushed it.
LSU is going to open up spring football on Tuesday. Let's do a little offensive preview here, if we could. A little offensive preview music, Muse, if you could. Appreciate that. LSU hasn't played a game since December the 27th, when they lost that heinous bowl game to Houston. And Lane Kiffin's done a lot. They've remade the entire roster. 35 players left via the portal. They added 42 players via the portal. And now they're going to hit the practice field Tuesday for the first time in spring under Lane Kiffin. And the idea is to maybe give you a little bit of a thumbnail preview of the offensive side of the ball. So let's start it, Muse. Yeah, the thing we talked about. Hit a swoosh.
I thought you were going to wait till you did a position, but I got it.
Cassie, did I tell him to hit a swoosh?
You did.
I did. I'm just making sure that we talked about that was the thing we were going to do. A dynamic element into the show. Bed music, swoosh, transition, little theater of the mind for the audience, give them a little production value. Something we discussed? Yeah?
Yep.
I mean, it's 4:06 Muse. It's not 4:20 yet. By the way, I met a guy today. I went to Haspel. Shout out. I got to talk about Haspel a little bit.
Love Haspel.
Guy. So I'm auctioneering an event this weekend at St. James Episcopal Day School with Ribs. We're the auctioneers. And it's a derby theme event, so I had to go to Haspel today.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say your boy got outfitted, okay? Let's just say your boy got outfitted.
All right. I want to see it.
You'll see it Friday.
All right.
Well, you'll see it on social media Friday.
Okay.
'Cause I'm not wearing this to work.
All right.
But I'll put it on after the show and go to City Club for the event. Haspel.
They're good, dude.
Haspel. You know, the other thing, too, is Haspel isn't just seersucker. That's a
No.
big misconception. They have some of the long-sleeve performance gear shirts. Might have picked up a few of those as well today.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Your boy was feeling pretty springy today. Got Easter coming up.
It is officially spring.
It's spring. Got events every weekend.
And you gonna look good.
Feeling springy.
Yeah.
I might just look like an Easter egg.
Hey,
A very colorful Easter egg.
why not?
I was like, give me all of them. No, I didn't actually say that. But you'll see on Friday.
I'll take 7 of those, please. Thank you.
All right. Okay, quarterback. Literally all of LSU's quarterbacks are gone. Garrett Nussmeier's gone. Michael Van Buren's gone. Colin Hurley's gone. All of the quarterbacks are gone. So they had to go in. They added Sam Levitt, Husan Longstreet, Landon Clark. Levitt, we're going to watch what ability he is able to participate in spring. He's likely to be limited with the Liz Frank. What I was told was they expect him to do some 7-on-7 stuff. But the other guys, real opportunity there. Running back, Harlem Berry was one of the priorities. They had 5 players they prioritized retaining, 3 of them on offense. They were Harlem Berry, Tradez Green, Braylon Moore. They kept them all. Berry, remember Caden Durham entered the portal, then withdrew, but JT Lindsey, Caleb Jackson left via the portal, so you had to go add bodies there as well. This will be our first look at Racine Guillory from Utah, Rod Gainey from Charlotte, Dylan Jones from Wisconsin, and then Gage, the running back, Stacey Gage from UCF. So a crowded running back room, but unquestioned leaders there with Berry and Durham. At receiver, LSU returns 1 reception. 1 reception. Phillip Wright, the only receiver with a catch a season ago that's back. Everybody else is brand new. Who develops rapport with receivers within Kiffin's offense? That's going to be fascinating to watch. Offensive line, I'll throw that in the mix as well. It was quite literally your worst position group a season ago. That is inarguable. They were terrible. They put a priority on retaining Braylon Moore, who was your best offensive lineman a season ago, and they kept him. They made the late push in the portal to add Jordan Seaton, who is an all-everything left tackle. So you've got the 2 most important positions on your offensive line solidified, your center and your left tackle. Everything else is open. Now, I think Alu Ba from Maryland is going to win the starting right guard job. 2-year starter in the Big Ten at right guard. You return Weston Davis as well. Does he hold that job? Devin Harper, a one-time LSU commit who went to Ole Miss and redshirted last year, followed Kiffin here. You talk to people at Ole Miss. He was supposed to be the starting right tackle in Oxford this year. Does he beat out Weston Davis to be the starting right tackle this year? We'll see. Sean Tompkins comes in from Baylor, where he was their starting left tackle. Well, he ain't playing left tackle this year with Jordan Seaton right there. Does he kick down to guard? Do one of the smaller school guys potentially step up and win that job, or are they just depth pieces? Don't know. We'll start to get those answers about rotations here in spring. And then, of course, at tight end, you return Tradez Green, one of the 5 that you prioritized keeping, and you got him. J.D. LaFleur is back as well. And then remember, you went into the portal and added Thomas, the tight end from Pitt, who's the 6'4 pass catcher, and you added Zach Grace from Oregon. Now, Zach Grace played in every game for Oregon last year, but didn't catch a pass, didn't actually record a statistic. He's an H-back. He is a fullback, H-back, blocking tight end. Call him whatever you want. Affixed with his hand in the dirt. The H-back sort of off the line of scrimmage. He's going to be a battering ram for this offense coming in from Oregon. That's how your tight end room looks. A quick overview of the offense as LSU gets set to start spring practice on Tuesday out on the Ponderosa. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, ARCCO. Weather's beautiful. I mean, right now, 81 and sunny. It is gorgeous. Nobody's thinking about storm season, but you should be. Because the worst time to think about a generator is when the storm's in the Gulf. So think about this not just for your home. Think about this for your business. That's what Arco does. It's industrial generator power. We all know about standby generators for your home. Well, what do you do? What does your business do if the power goes out? That's where Arco comes in. Critical backup energy solutions, and everything is turnkey. They can sell, service, install, rent you those standby generators. Arco.com, ARCCO. And remember, they're not just in Baton Rouge. North to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio, draw a giant circle. If you're anywhere in that footprint, Arco serves you. ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here, man. In 1 hour, about 48 minutes from right now, we'll talk to David DeLucci about the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference. LSU let one get away. Paul Maneri was fired at South Carolina this weekend, or they mutually agreed to part ways, whatever. Texas, Auburn. I mean, some big weekends that we got to talk about here with DeLucci. We'll do that coming up in hour number 3. When we come back, though, with the first big wave of free agency behind us, that was a good time to check in with Greg Auman, our buddy from Fox Sports, who covers the NFC South. Get a look at not only what the Saints did, but what the other 3 teams in the division did here in this first wave of free agency. Who got better, who got worse, who has work to do. We'll talk about that next with Greg Auman on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. At Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. So make sure you check out glowresources.com. If you own a business, if you manage a business, if you manage people, if it's your job to find the right people in your business to make sure that you are operating at max efficiency and effectiveness. Listen, we all know if you are an operator or if you manage people, the surest way to make sure that you are the most efficient you could possibly be is to have the right people in your organization. That's where Glow Resources comes in. They conduct roughly 50 interviews a day. So on average, about 15,000 interviews over the course of a year. It doesn't matter how many people you interview. You ain't interviewing 15,000 people over the course of a year. Glow Resources does that. It's why they know the questions to ask to find the right people for your job. So check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
First wave of NFL free agency is in the rearview mirror. Good opportunity to pull back, take the 10,000-foot view, look at how the NFC South is doing. Greg Auman's our buddy who covers the NFC South for Fox Sports. Good enough to hang out here for a couple of minutes. Always generous with his time. Hey, Greg, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
You're doing fine. Hope you guys are too.
We are, man. Thank you very much. We focused a lot here locally, obviously, on what the Saints have done. What have been your impressions of how the Saints have attacked free agency here in the first couple of weeks?
I liked it. I mean, I think it took some big swings on offense. I think clearly, one an emphasis on getting Kellen Moore and getting Tyler Shuck, just better cast of characters. I think in terms of supporting cast, obviously, I think Etienne or Etienne, I guess you say,
right,
is an upgrade at running back. Obviously, they spent some money for Andrews there. So I think that it's one of those where they've addressed that now. I think to evaluate Tyler Shuck with those in place, it's kind of like Carolina did 2 years ago when they started kind of adding weapons around Bryce Young. So I think that's great. I think they've made the moves you expect, lost a little bit. I mean, to lose Alonte's tough, but he really got paid really well by the Titans. So I don't know that I would have expected New Orleans to come close to that to try and keep him.
To pay him like a top 10 cornerback feels silly, right. but God bless you, Tennessee. You got the money, go do it. Did anything that any of the four teams in the division doing the first couple of weeks here surprise you?
Carolina wrote two really big checks. I mean, what New Orleans did to their offense, Carolina did to their defense. To give Jalen Phillips just a huge contract. I like Devin Lloyd. I just wasn't sure, how much he gets paid. He got, whatever, $15 million a year, which is probably less than some people thought. But that's two big additions. I mean, that's a major upgrade there. Took some losses on the offensive line. But no, I felt like, their defense had to get better. And I think they did that. Now, did they need to spend $120 million on an edge rusher? I don't know about that. But, like I said, I felt like both those teams overspent as needed to really address two areas and upgrade at least one side of the ball.
Greg Auman's with us, Fox Sports, covers the NFC South. What about the Falcons and what they've done at quarterback? Give me your flyover there.
I thought it was a good match. It's convenient that it's two lefties, but I think as much as anything, I think Tua needed a spot where he knew he could step in and get a chance to reset himself as an NFL starter. This is a 1 year. Obviously, it's super cheap for Atlanta, which is nice, but it's his chance he has 1 year to remind people what he's capable of. And if you're a quarterback in today's NFL, he's already gotten one $200 million contract. So it's just a matter of how high he can set the bar for his next contract. It takes a lot of the pressure off trying to get Michael Penix back right away. I think, they're paying Tua so little. It's kind of a trifle, I guess. He could be the guy, or it could be that, by week 4, Penix is in there and Penix is playing better. I do think, in terms of opportunities, that's probably as good as Tua could have found. In terms of a talented offense, lots of, skilled position players to throw to in terms of having London, having Pitts, having Bijan Robinson. I think they've kind of upgraded their receiving depth. They really had bad receiving depth in Atlanta there. So to add Zacchaeus, to add, it's kind of spare parts pieces. It's not amazing guys that they added, but it's a better 2 and 3 than they had before. And I think they'll probably help themselves there in the draft as well.
I'll get to the draft in just a second, because that's always an interesting conversation coming off of free agency, what teams might do in the draft. But let me ask you, you're obviously there in Tampa and primarily covered the Bucs. It seems outside looking in, the most interesting storyline is Mike Evans going to San Francisco. Is that as big a deal in Tampa as it seems?
Oh, yeah. A huge thing here. Just crushing thing for Bucs fans. As beloved a team player as this franchise has had, Levante David's really close, and they might be losing Levante David too. So I think you have to go back to kind of the Brooks, Sapp, Lynch, Barber, Hall of Fame quartet to have anything close to Mike Evans. He's the best offensive player they've ever had. I think he had done a pretty good job of kind of keeping a poker face and making it seem like he might stick around, when very clearly this offseason his priority was to get himself to a better place and have a chance to go out with a champ. San Francisco gets him on the cheap. It's like $14 million a year. To his credit, he's made plenty of money. He's made $150 million. He's made more than anybody in Tampa Bay history. And again, beloved here. It's kind of, I think, he probably is drawing some parallels to what Tom Brady did, and that you don't think of yourself as ever leaving, and then you see an opportunity, and at the very end you go somewhere else and you win a championship. And I think that's certainly what he hopes he can do in San Francisco. He'll be a number one there. He's got a good offense, a great offensive mind in Shanahan. So we need to see. If he stays healthy, he could have massive numbers even at 32, 33 years old in that offense.
As far as Tampa Bay signings, what feels the most significant for what they've done to try to get back to the top of the division?
There's not huge. Alex Anzalone as a linebacker that probably has to step into Levante David's shoes seems like a good fit in terms of leadership, in terms of be able to be better in pass coverage. That really was a weak spot for them, was covering the middle of the field in the pass game. But no, there's not a lot of huge signings. Al-Quadin Muhammad is a $4 million signing at edge rusher. So I think they still need to use the draft to really help them at edge rusher. Probably need to use a high pick at linebacker as well. I think they've lost a lot more than they've signed here, and that's not the norm. There used to be, such an emphasis here to run it back and to bring all of your key free agents back. And this year, they kind of let most of them go. They brought Cade Otton back. He's a tight end. They brought Sean Tucker back, who's their third running back. 2 league minimum, a guard and a tight end. But, they allowed Jamel Dean to leave. They allowed Rashad White to leave. Some of these I think they were okay with. But I think this definitely looked more like a team that lost 7 of 9 and doesn't want to bring everybody back and wants to shake things up a little bit, hoping they can have a different vibe and a different energy next season.
Greg, when you look, you mentioned some of what Tampa might be looking to do in the draft. When you look at the rest of the league, where do you see maybe the biggest needs in the draft next month?
I mean, the Saints, we did like a beat writer mock draft, and I had all the division teams. So I was sitting on the Saints at 8, and I was thrilled that Jeremiah Love fell to them at 8. Now, I think them taking is probably a concession that Love won't be there, if you will. I think some people think he might even go as high as 4 to Tennessee. So then I still feel like receivers in need. I mean, as much as they've added some pieces on offense, they need a solid number 2. They need somebody to kind of be there. I mean, especially with, you lose a receiver Seattle last year. You still got a strong number 1 in Olave. But I think to restock that room with high-level talent is just smart. So at 8, you might very well have your pick of the receivers. I mean, Carnell Tate's probably off the board by then. But I think the rest of the class should be there at 8 if you wanted to. I mean, there's lots of ways they can go in terms of kind of replenishing some positions on defense where they've lost players. At 8, you might have the best corner in this draft. I mean, it's one of those where these things can fall out different ways, but I think 8's a nice place to be. I'll be intrigued to see what they do. It's a nice spot to be in.
What about the Bucs at 15?
Yeah, almost has to be an edge. It really needs to be an edge. And they've neglected the position. Last year, I was excited they took Emeka Ibuka, but they didn't have a pass rush in the second half of the season. If Levante David retires, they have a whole linebacker, so they could do something there. Maybe linebacker's a second-round pick for them. But I really think they have to go edge. I'll be surprised if it's not a defensive pick. I'll be very surprised.
Greg Auman, Fox Sports. Interesting times as always, man. Are you expecting anything in the second wave of free agency? Anything significant in the second wave of free agency from any of the teams in the division?
No, I mean, you're just kind of picking value right now. You need to still get starters. I mean, the Bucs sent a guy today from Carolina, Christian Rosemoon, who's probably a $2 million linebacker, started every game for Carolina, had 122 tackles last year, and he might just be a third linebacker for them, a special teams leader, that kind of thing. So I think you're getting to the bones. It's kind of like the buffet's been picked over, and you're finding what's left. And I mean, no one's writing $25 million checks anymore. But in terms of you can really help yourself in terms of finding a $3 million bargain, a $2 million bargain, a league minimum guy that ends up helping you as a starter. So I don't want to undervalue how important this wave between now and the draft is, because there's really ways you can help yourself. But I think most of the best players in the league are off the board already.
Get him on Twitter or X at Greg Auman, AUMAN, covers the NFC South and the NFL for Fox Sports, based there in Tampa. So always a good resource. Hey, man, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thanks again for having me.
Yep.
Have a good one.
It's our pleasure. You do the same. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. A lot of people get married in the spring. The weather's so nice. Means you have anniversaries in the spring, meaning you got to get her an anniversary present in the spring. Yeah, you do. What are you going to do? You're going to get something meaningful, something timeless, something that will last. That's why you go to Lee Michaels. See, Lee Michaels, every single diamond that goes into the case, hand inspected by a family member. You'll never see a lab-made or man-made diamond. Everything from the finest diamond mines in the world. Scott goes on these buying trips in India and all over the world throughout the year to make sure he brings the best selection back here to the 9 Lee Michaels locations. And that's the benefit you get when you go to Lee Michaels. Of course, we love to talk about the Lee Michaels experience, which is a giant part of it, about making you feel comfortable with your purchase, not forced or pressured into buying. It's something that they specialize in at Lee Michaels, making you feel thrilled when you walk out the door with that purchase. But they're going to give you the great selection. The big box stores tend to be cookie cutter. The small boutique jewelers, less selection, probably overpriced. Lee Michaels is that sweet spot where you're going to get the great selection, where they have what you want. If they don't, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. And you're going to usually get great value as well. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I appreciate Greg Auman for a couple of minutes there. We're about halfway home on this Monday show presented by Relief Windows. I always find this part of free agency to be it's certainly not the most interesting. Like, you're not going to have the big headlines, like going to sign Etienne or David Edwards. Like, you're not going to have that. in this portion of free agency after the first wave and before the draft. But it's where the bargain bin shoppers can really make hay. Because if you evaluate properly and you hit on someone in the second wave, then it's what Greg just talked about. You're getting value for potential starters in the NFL. So, yeah, and look, there's some of the Saints players. I mean, Cam Jordan, notably among them, is one we're going to keep an eye on, right? I'm not saying Cam's a starter, but you can get value add in this portion between the first wave of free agency and the NFL draft. So we'll see what these teams in the division, notably the Saints, do. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. David DeLucci's in 30 minutes. Recap the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference. Pro Day was out at LSU today. Sean Fazan, our buddy from Fox 8, was there. He'll be here in 1 hour from right now to give us his biggest takeaways. When we come back, though, LSU is going to hit the practice field for spring tomorrow. And good timing, Bill Connolly has put out his returning production metrics. We'll go through it, but it really begs a very obvious question, like, how much does this even matter anymore? We'll dig in next on AFR.
AFR.
Man, when the weather is this nice, you better get outside and touch grass. You better get outside, put your hands in the dirt. And nobody helps you do that better than Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations, greenhouses bursting with blooms. I mean, dozens of different blooms of roses, different rose bushes. I'm telling you what, man. Beautiful flowers. The spring colors are everywhere. The weather is nice. That last cold snap is behind us. You want to plant a vegetable garden? Awesome. They got Johnny Naylor seeds at all 4 locations. And you know where they are, right? Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham. If you're in Denham, you know where that is. There's not another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that Clegg's in Denham. Mid-City on Donmore. You turn off of Florida onto Donmore. It's right there on the right. And then the garden center on Greenwell Springs, which is the largest garden center in the state of Louisiana. I mean, it is incredible. So, get by. Just plant something and let our friends at Clegg's help. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
One of the metrics that has often been used to try to predict success in a college football season is returning production. And it makes sense, right? If you had a bunch of players that threw for a lot of yards or ran for a lot of yards or caught a bunch of passes or made a bunch of tackles and they're back for another season, the deductive reasoning tells you, well, they'll just build upon that season and be really good and they could replicate that production. And that's long been a pretty accurate predictor. I just don't think it matters as much in college football anymore because of the transfer portal. And when we used to look at returning production, it was because teams that lost a bunch were teams that lost a bunch to the NFL. And so then it meant you were just going to have young guys coming up and starting for the first time behind them. I think back to the 2020 LSU football team when you had a half dozen guys get drafted in round 1, 15 players drafted from that national championship team. Well, you went into 2020 and you recruited well and you had a lot of 4- and 5-star guys, but you just didn't have a lot of returning production. And so that meant something then. Now you go into the portal and get dudes that have been really productive. So you're not returning your production, but you're returning someone else's production. So, for example, and I'm going to get to this because Bill Connolly has released his returning production metrics for this coming college football season, and I won't bury the lead. At the top of the list, the team with the most returning production is Notre Dame. Maryland, Nebraska, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, that's your top 5. Texas is there at 6. Minnesota, Georgia. Remember, this was the youngest team Kirby ever had at Georgia. UCLA, Florida, that's your top 10. Oregon, Texas Tech, Southern Cal, Texas A&M, Washington, you get the gist. If you're wondering, LSU's returning production number is their 30th in the country in returning production. But I say that because if we go back and look at a year ago, so let's look at returning production so we know how these teams did in the 2025 season. Okay, so, and this was a post-spring returning production ranking. Now, it's also fair to mention, a year ago, you still had a spring transfer portal window. So teams still added and lost players post-spring. So this was an updated post-spring returning production ranking. And so this was going into last season. Okay, so the teams with the most returning production in the last season. Hey, Muse, do you remember the team that had the most returning production in all of college football last year going into the season?
I don't.
LSU played them.
Clemson. Oh my God, it was Clemson.
Yes.
80%.
Clemson was the number one team in the country last year on returning production. Followed, how did Clemson season go?
It didn't go well. Yeah, at all.
Do you remember their record? It was the same as LSU. They were 7-6.
Okay, I was about to say I don't.
Yeah, it was 7-6. Number 2, Arizona State. Coming off a playoff appearance. How did their season go?
It didn't go very well either.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. Did have an injury to quarterback, though.
Matters.
That matters.
But they also lost Scadaboo to the draft. And
that mattered, too.
Number 3 is Vanderbilt. And they obviously went 10-2. Outstanding season. Number 4 was Illinois, another team that had a very strong season under Burt. Burt Bielema.
Burt Bielema.
That's not his name?
That's not his name. It's Brett Bielema.
Oh, I thought it was Burt Bielema.
Yeah.
Kennesaw State, Texas Tech playoff team, Texas A&M playoff team, Rutgers, not a playoff team, Baylor was 9th, not a playoff team, Oklahoma 10th, playoff team. So that was your top 10. And of that top 10, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Oklahoma made the playoffs. Okay, so let's look at the rest of that list to see who were the other playoff teams. So we could look at, for example, Alabama was 29th in returning production. Indiana, who won the national championship, was 38th in returning production. You see the trend here? You're looking at teams that didn't necessarily return a bunch, but they hit in the portal. JMU, which made the playoff, they were 55th in the country in returning production. Miami, which played for the national championship, was 60th in returning production going into 2025. All that to say, we have to reframe, I believe, how we look at all of these metrics. Ole Miss, this is the most jarring one, which, of course, made the semifinal. Ole Miss was 95th in America last year in returning production. I remember this was a giant talking point last year in July at SEC Media Days because Ole Miss returned 2 starters. 2 made the semifinal because Lane had the right guys return, but hit in the portal. And obviously, Trinidad Chambliss had the season he did. Ole Miss was 95th. Georgia, which also made the playoffs, was 96th in returning production a year ago. I mean, and I don't mean for this to come across as if I'm just like beating the drum saying, trying to spin this for you to be a positive for LSU going into this season. But I just told you that you had teams, the team that was 60th in American returning production played for the national championship. The team that was 38th in returning production, I'm sorry, they were, let's see, Indiana, did I say 38th? Indiana was 38th, won the national championship. You had a team that was 95th in returning production that made the semifinal. All that to say, it's just not essential anymore. Like, I look at Kirby Smart at Georgia this year, who had a young team a year ago. That was another big talking point at SEC Media Days. Kirby said it was the youngest team he ever had. More than half his roster were underclassmen, and they still made the playoffs. And they did not look like Georgia at times this year. And they took some lumps, but still made the playoffs. That's the standard of a great team, where even like your basement is you don't look great, but you still make the playoffs, right? Well, maybe this year Georgia returning all that production from a playoff team makes them even better. And they probably will be. But I think that's going to be the exception, not the rule. And all that to say, if you're LSU this year and you're 30th in the country in returning production, and most of that, by the way, is on the defensive side of the ball, then it's not necessarily going to be the death knell to say lower expectations. The real standard is how well a coaching staff can manage a roster of new pieces and have them gel quickly. And sometimes it works really well, like Indiana, like Ole Miss did a year ago, like Miami did a year ago. And sometimes it doesn't go well at all whenever you bring in a bunch of new pieces and it dissolves. I think what Kalen DeBoer has done at Alabama is a good example of that. Yes, they made the playoff. They were a 4-loss team. No one's going to look at that Bama team and say they were great. It has not gone well with DeBoer coming in, doing it his way. But can you do it the traditional way? Well, Clemson a year ago in 25 would suggest, no, you really can't. The other side of it is Georgia this year might debunk that. I think the point that I'm going to make sort of consistently is to say there used to be like the way you could build a championship roster. You had to, and it was the blue chip ratio. You had to recruit more 4 and 5 stars and keep them from transferring. Just a roster full of 4 and 5 stars that stayed in your program for 3 and 4 years and got better, didn't leave early for the draft, and you always had this wave, this just conveyor belt as one class rotated off, a new class of 4 and 5 stars rotated on. That's how you won. And so you had the handful of schools that did that better than anybody. And if you can pull that off now, great. It's just harder to do. Georgia's going to try to pull it off this year. We'll see. Clemson tried last year and failed. But then you have this new way of saying, do you really trust your ability to scout, evaluate, and pull resources together to put the best roster together? And then when they're together, can you coach them up to maximize their ability? That's the Lane Kiffin approach. And it worked last year at Ole Miss. He's going to try to make it work this year at LSU because LSU's not going the traditional route of recruiting and developing and keeping guys on campus. This is go buy a bunch of talented guys to even get them to play together well. Start spring practice this week. We'll keep an eye on how those guys start to gel together. All right, it's after further review. Right about Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parrish Construction and Roofing. Repairs, replacements, commercial, residential. We do it all, and we're all over the state as well. Love whenever we get calls to help our friends down in New Orleans, in the Bayou region, of course, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Alexandria, even in Mississippi. We just opened up our Austin, Texas office a couple of weeks ago. We're so excited about that as we acquired My Roof Pro in Austin, Texas. So continuing to expand and love helping you out. So if you got an issue with your roof, we'd love the opportunity to help. And it's not just roof repairs and replacements. We do soft wash, we do gutters, we fabricate our own metal so we can fabricate your own gutters, helps with cost and efficiency and exactly what you want. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Let us give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. We'd love to help you out. Parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parrish Construction and Roofing. All right, we'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. When we come back, Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. David DeLucci, recap of the SEC weekend in baseball in about 15 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
I got a text today from Goodwood that I am due for my 6-month blood labs. If you're on hormone replacement therapy, that's part of the process. Every 6 months, they're going to do a blood lab draw to test your levels to see how you're doing. It's part of that process to make sure that consistent monitoring to make sure that your body is reacting to your hormones as you're supposed to. And so you monitor that to make sure that you're at safe, effective levels. And Goodwood does an awesome job. The other thing that's very important I would like to point out, if you are a man who's currently on HRT, like I am and have been for a long time, if you are on HRT, when you go for your 6-month blood labs, whatever clinic you go to, you probably pay for those blood labs. At Goodwood, they pick up that cost. So if you're getting HRT supplements from somewhere else, you really should look into Goodwood. Lowest prices, never any contracts. YourGoodwood.com. YourGoodwood.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
I sent Alondra a mic drop GIF. It's in slow-mo. This is the longest mic drop ever. I mean, like, this might be the longest GIF you'll ever watch because it takes forever to watch the mic drop in slow-mo. And you keep waiting to see if it's going to hit the ground and explode or something. It doesn't.
It just hits the ground.
No, it stops about halfway down the GIF. Oh. Yeah. Remember when she was leaving earlier and I was singing Set It Off? Not the Boosie Set It Off. The Juvenile Set It Off.
Yeah. Yep.
And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, singing Set It Off. She was like, oh, I know Set It Off. I'm like, no, not Boosie Set It Off. So I sent her, I went to YouTube, got the video, sent her the video of Juvenile Set It Off. Do you know Juvenile Set It Off?
I've heard it. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I know it, but yes, of course I've heard it.
You haven't heard it.
I've heard it.
You're lying.
Okay, then that's your opinion. You can believe that.
I know you, Muse. I sit in here with you every day. You don't know it.
I didn't say I knew it. I said I've heard it. That's exactly what I said. I've heard it. Not going to sit here and claim that I know it. That's what I said.
So how can you objectively prove that you've heard it? Guess what I've heard? I've heard a peacock and a dolphin.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Wrestling.
That's awesome.
I've heard it.
What I can tell you
Cassie,
is...
you heard that? A peacock and a dolphin wrestling? I've heard that.
Sure.
See?
The other reason
Cassie,
I can...
do you believe that he's heard this song?
I don't know. He's not sounded very believable.
It's not very believable. That's my point. I know Muse. I sit in here with him every day.
Okay, then. Well, I don't really feel like doing this right now. I'm just going to be honest.
It's about time you're honest about something. Why don't you be honest about it if you know the song Set It Off by Juvenile?
I said I didn't know it. I said I've heard it, but I can't say that I know it well. That is literally what I said.
You didn't say know it well. You didn't say know it well. It's not what you said. It's not what you said, Muse.
And one way to objectively prove that I've heard it is you've been singing it for the entire afternoon. And as you say, I sit in here with you every day.
I've not sung it the entire afternoon. I sang one bar of it out there earlier. And if you can replicate that, I'll stop.
And you've been singing it in the break.
I'm here.
You've been singing it in the break. You sang it to Hunt.
Let me hear it.
That's what I said. I can't say that I know it well. I can't give you the beat of it.
You heard me do it all afternoon.
You've been saying Set It Off in this mother what? That's what you've been saying.
In this mother what?
Like, so.
And you know what? If you knew that, you would have known it, but you don't know it. Anyway, point being, I sent that to Alondra, and she's like, certified banger. And I was like, in fairness, it's been a certified banger for 25 years. We didn't need you to tell me it was a certified banger. And she's like, well, in fairness, I'm barely older than a quarter of a century. I said, well, if that's the case, then you should, by that logic, you should know grunge. And we all know Alondra, big grunge head, right? Loves grunge music. And so she was like, she sent me the touche gift from Dodgeball of Ben Stiller, right? And so then, which is really good. And so then I sent her the mic drop gift to bring this thing full circle.
God, I love that movie so much. I just love it so much.
That's the Chuck Norris. I knew that's where you go with the Chuck Norris movie on
It's
Friday.
his movie. He was in the movie.
Not his movie. He's
Dodgeball
in the
starring
movie.
Chuck Norris.
He's in the movie. It's by that logic, then it's Lance Armstrong's movie.
It's him too, man.
It's not either of their movies.
You know, he had a pretty good reason to quit when, you know, he had cancer and it was eating away at his organs.
And that's when I did the mic drop and the slow mic drop. And it got to about right here. And then it went back to the top. And it was not a very good gift. Oh, shout out.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
Joel, my guy Joel Satoon, go DJ, who DJs the 17th green at Zurich at the walk-ons tent. He said, I'm going to drop it in the set for Zurich.
There you go.
We do not have time for Tigers in the Pros.
It's fine, though. Hey, Alex Bregman went 2 for 3 today. Homer and a double. Solid day for Breggs. Yeah. Grant Taylor threw an inning of relief.
Anything else? What else we got?
Nas Reed had a big night.
Stayed.
He should have stayed, man.
He'd do it.
I mean, he had 11. He had 15 if he stayed.
We
so,
just waste that whole set.
Yeah.
Do it.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Oh, strong word. And totally redeem yourself. All right, Luch is here after SportsCenter. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana. Find that location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, remember, we're getting through spring. I know spring break is coming up for some folks. Some of you might have already had it, but again, around Easter, a lot of time you have spring break. Maybe you're hitting the road for a little road trip around Easter, around spring break. Well, bring your vehicle to Shawbills. You need your oil changed? Go to Shawbills. You need your tires rotated? Go to Shawbills. Check engine lights on? Go to Shawbills. Need new wiper blades? Go to Shawbills. Brakes are squeaking? Go to Shawbills. Or maybe it's time to buy new tires. You've been putting it off, but that's not safe, so it's time for new tires. Well, you want to buy the best tires at the cheapest price? Where do you go? You go to Shawbills. That's what I do. You should as well. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shop tires. Find the location nearest you. Schedule service. Shawbills. We keep you rolling.